Hi, this is Kaiden. If your child is in primary 1 and you're struggling to teach him how to do subtract to get 10 first, then you have to watch this video. Because in this video, I'll share why does the school teach in this way and how to teach your child so that they also can do subtract to get 10 first. Hi, in this video, I'm going to do Primary 1 Mathematics, Chapter 9, Subtraction within 20. Subtract one digit number from two digit numbers. The main thing is this, we are going to be looking at subtract to get 10 first. If you have a Primary 1 kid, I predict that he is going to have some troubles trying to understand the way to do it, and as a parent maybe you will also be trying to struggle to understand why you want to do subtract to get 10 first, okay, or why go through this long and convoluted method to get subtract to get 10 first. Okay, so I'm going to share about all this in this video today. Okay, so first let's look at what is this subtracting to get 10 first. And it's basically a technique to minus two digits with one digit numbers. So things like 12 minus away 5 or 17 minus away 3. Okay, two digits over here, one digit over here. Especially if you need regrouping. So what regrouping means, right, is this kind of numbers where you cannot, if you do 12 minus 5, and then I cannot take 2 minus 5, I must add the 12 and then minus 5 and get 7. Okay, this kind is especially important when you are when they are trying to teach you subtraction within subtract to get 10 first. Okay, I think this is more for parents. Okay, all right. So why learn it? Why learn subtraction within 10? Why can't I just take 12 and then I cancel, which is what they were doing previously. All right. So in the beginning of chapter 9, they will be doing like I have 12 minus 2, right? So I draw 12 out and then after that I cross out the 2 and then I count how many I've got over here. Why can't I do this for 12, say, minus 5? Okay, if I say 12 minus 5, why can't I just cross out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and then I just count whatever that's left over here? This was a question that I also had. Why do they use number bonds? Why do they break it up? Why do they have a very specific way of doing number bonds? And after I've taught my child who's in primary 1, I think I sort of realize why. It's because this is the Singapore way of doing mental sums. Okay, this is how we teach students how to do mental sums. And after a while, I think after I go through this lesson, you will have a better appreciation of why we want to teach them the number bonds way of minusing or subtracting one digit from two digits. Because I have also taught primary 3, 4, 5, 6 students, and I noticed those of them who are not strong in this, right, they are really not able to do questions like 17 minus 9. Something like this, right, will like stumble them. I think even not primary 4, 5, 6. If you ask adults how to do a question like 19 minus away, say, no, let's say not 19, 12 minus away 7, like booms, fast. They do have problems trying to work this out. And if you can do it right, it's mostly you have that image of the numbers in your head and how to split them up, and that's why you can do it. Okay, so in this video, I want to share why it's important to do this subtraction within 10, subtraction within 20 in a number bonds way. So before they do subtraction within 20, they have to know these things familiar. They must be familiar with these things, which is number bonds. All right, so they must be very comfortable with number bonds, and they must be comfortable. They must understand that, let's say a number called 5 can be split up into 3 and 2. 5 can be split up into 1 and 4. 5 can be split up into 4 and 1. They must be very comfortable and fast with this. They don't have to memorize the numbers, but they have to understand that the number 5, the number 6, the number 7 can be split up into different component numbers or different number bonds. The other thing is they must be able to add and subtract within 10 comfortably. Don't have to be super fast. They can actually use their fingers. I actually have seen people using their fingers. The advantage of using number bonds is because you break everything down to within 10. So therefore you can use your fingers. Otherwise, if I do a question like 12 minus 5, you don't have 12 fingers, right? So it's difficult to do it if you don't have 12 fingers. But if you use the number bonds method, right, everything will be broken down within 10, then you can start to use your fingers and count. So that's also another advantage that I noticed with this subtracting to 10 first method that the schools are teaching. So the steps to doing subtracting to 10 first is the first step is you have to break up the first number. So if we have a question like 17 minus 5, the first thing that you must drill them on is to break up the 17, okay, or 16 minus 8, whatever it is. They have to break up the first number. So what I did was I drilled my kids, and you have to break up the number into 10 and 6. All right. So for 18 is 10 and 8. For 19 is 10 and 9, and for 12 is 10 and 2. Now this is a super important step, all right? Don't skip this step. Drill your kids on this until they can break up the whole sequence of 11 all the way to 19 with no issue. So once they see the number 16, they know I need to break it up into 10 and 6. Okay, so the first step is quite easy, which is just break up the first number. So this one, make sure they drill them and they are super comfortable with this. The next step is once you have your 10 and your 6, the second step they have to do is to make sure to break this number into 6, okay? Which means these two numbers have to be the same. And once they find this 6, they have to be able to figure out what is the other side. So 6, and then this is 1. At this point in time, sometimes they use fingers, so they do 7, and then they say, oh, I got 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm left with 1. So that's acceptable, right? Because you're working within 10, so therefore you can do 6 and 6. So that's the second step, which is then you break this up into 10 and 7, and then the second step is break this into 7. Make sure that these two numbers are the same, and then once you get this 7, so you have 9, and then minus 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm left with 2. So I write a 2 over here. So this is their working. Make sure they are comfortable with this second step, which is, I'll do it again, which is 10 and 2, and then this is 2, and they must get this. Now the third step that they need to drill is to cancel this 2 6s together, cancel the 7 together, cancel the 2 together. So after they have cancelled this, the last step is to draw a line over here. So if you notice, right, everything is within 10. That's why they can use their fingers, because everything is within 10. So they draw the line here, and then after that they do 10, and then 10 minus 1, I get 9. Okay, so the answer here will be equals to 9. And then 17, this second question, 10 minus 2, then use their fingers and I get 8. And then after that, 10 minus 3, and I get 7. And then after this, then you teach them the equations that the textbook teaches them, which is the first step is 16 minus 6 gives you 10. So tell him I have 16, I minus away the 6, I give the 10, and then I have the 10 minus the 1, that gives me a 9, which is the 9 over here. Okay, so these two 9s are the same number. I tried teaching from this equations before, and he was absolutely lost. He had no idea why I had to take 16 minus 6 equals to 10, and then after that, how come I got the 1, where did I get the 1 from, and how come I get the 10, where did I get the 10 from. He had a lot of problems trying to understand this method, and I found this number bonds method so much easier to teach my kid. All right, so I hope you can try this number bonds method, and then after that you can also minus. Now, why they are doing this, right? Like I said, it's a mental sum thing. As an adult, if you are going to try to work this out, right? Now, if I tell you I want to do 17 minus 8, for example. Now, as an adult, straight away, I can break up 8 into 7 and 1, and then I minus away my 17 and left with my 10, and then 10 minus my 1, and I know I can get my 9 over here. Okay, so once you get more comfortable with it, right, you don't have to break up the numbers really. It's just easier to break it up. You don't have to draw it out. And it also trains them to have an understanding that, hey, numbers can be formed by different pairs and different types of numbers. Okay, give them a better kind of number sense to it. At first, frankly, I thought I was very angry at the school, at the textbook. I was like, why do you make them do this kind of weird, long-winded, horrible, difficult to understand equations like this just to solve a simple question like 16 minus 7? Why can't you do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I cancel my 6, and then I cancel my 1, and this is 9. Why can't you just do this? All right, which is actually what they were doing before that. And after I've done this a few times, after I've done this subtract to get 10 first a few times, I start to appreciate and I start to understand why they are doing it. Okay, so I hope as a parent or a tutor, you can also understand the intentions of the school behind it, and you can help your child to master subtract to get 10 first. If you have any questions, just ask me on the YouTube or on the Facebook, and I look forward to do the next video for you.